September the 9th, 2024. Guys, you're looking at satellite images over the U.S. Quite a bit to look at. We're going to get down to that hurricane that's in the Gulf. But look up here. It's fire smoke right there. These wildfires. It looks like some's coming out of Canada, but a lot of it's being fed from Oregon, possibly locations in Washington, across the fires right here that are in Idaho, and possibly some more now that are getting up. What would this be, Montana? But look at that, wrapping up in the smoke. And so if you guys are getting very orange tint to your sunset, then you're seeing why. Now, this goes all the way across the U.S. Right here, you're seeing it start to bend and slightly move to the east. But right now, I'm in central Mississippi. If I look northwest, or I just look out at my trees, it's a yellow tint from just this much. So it comes through Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. You're getting a real good dose of it right now, and it goes on up into Virginia. And it's spread all the way to the Great Lakes. That's a lot of wood burning to see it this much from satellite. Now, again, down here in L.A., I'm going to zoom in because it's hard to tell at this distance when we see how that line fire is going. Now, it looks a little better than what we saw earlier, but notice these hot spots right there. I've got this filtered. There's fire there, and there's fire right there. And possibly some under this area right here. It's hard to say. But it's not as big as the ones that's up north. But there is a lot of people that's in this area. At one time, I think it was either earlier this morning, maybe about 35,000 homes and buildings were in danger from this thing. Anyway, there's two hot spots, getting closer to the coast than what we've seen. But it's looking better overall. You have a little bit of moisture coming in here, but this right there may be being generated by the heat of the fires, and you've seen that before. This may bring some relief, but most of it really is getting back off the coast. Now, they're looking at a Category 2, and I was looking at the print-offs from the advisories, and it looked like, and that was earlier today, and that things have increased, but coming ashore is a Cat 2 with 115-mile-per-hour gust, which would be Cat 3 gust. They start at 111. And but this thing is not through strengthening. From this morning, it was going to become a Cat 1. Then I noticed on the printout a little afternoon that we were at Cat 2 winds coming ashore in Louisiana already, again with the Cat 3 gust. We're starting to see this thing try to form an eye, get everything wrapped up. A lot of moisture being thrown out now across the south. We've had it pretty good, guys, but we're about to get tropical moisture. You can see it here. Florida, you're getting some pretty good rain almost the entire length of your state there. Now, what we'll see, this morning you had both storms combining, a big glob, but right now it's starting to really start to rotate, and right there's where the eye is going to form. That's telling you how fast this thing is happening. Again, Florida, you're right under this in the last frame, these storms right there. You got more coming at you. This is all along the panhandle, also moving up into Alabama and Georgia. You're more than likely, before the night's over, going to start to see some rain. Now, for my friends in central Mississippi or anywhere kind of in this area, this thing is going to be practically over our house in this county, just south of Jackson, Mississippi, at midnight, Wednesday night, Central Time, okay? That's using the UTC and backing it back. Midnight is a terrible time, and the local news is talking about on the northeast side, watch for tornadoes. So that's going to be really a bad time. That's all I can say. When it comes in the daytime, you have a chance to kind of see what's happening, but at midnight you don't. Now, what does that mean? I'm talking about from where it comes ashore all the way up past central Mississippi. In the surrounding states, guys, is that power is going to go out. And I have talked about Ryobi fans and Ryobi flashlights and things like that. And I'm charging all the batteries. I have solar panels. And be prepared. We picked up some extra water today as Tina went into town, and just in case, because in Katrina we lost power, and they couldn't even run the big main water tower because it relied on an electrical pump. So be prepared for things like that. And New Orleans really concerned about this because we're going to look at the track from the National Hurricane Center, which is an average, but the Fox model for the Navy hurricane track is a little further to the west now. This morning it looked like the center of circulation would go right up the Mississippi River, and the average is still showing that, but Fox now has this thing coming back over at least to the center of our state, maybe a little further. And notice this wind. See where it's blowing? This way. So that's going to help the turn of the storm. Not only that, you can't really see it here, but there's going to be a break in the low pressure, and that may have something to do with it. Right above it, and if it follows the low pressure, it will track more to the west. If it follows the Fox model in this wind that they're seeing, it will track further to the east. But again, midnight's a crucial time, and they're already saying it, and they may have already updated. We're going to look at it live, but 10 feet of storm surge down in southern Louisiana already, and that was when it was a Cat 1 predicted to come in. Now, this particular filter is what they call day cloud, and the light blues are surface wind. And you get up into the upper atmosphere, it goes in from the yellows to the orange to the red. Look at where the eye is starting to form right there, guys. That's just telling you the rapid strengthening of it. And it has all the characteristics, look at all of this, of a very powerful storm. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope it kind of dries up or something happens. But right now, again, we're looking at, from the last report I saw, Cat 2 coming in southern Louisiana, 10-foot storm surge with Cat 3 winds. But it may have been updated since I did that. But again, look at that. In day cloud phase. It's amazing to be able to see the different layers. It really helps you see where your clouds are. And you notice, again, just like the infrared is showing right there, there's bands of storms. This is going to wrap all the way around this eye. And more than likely, we could see it forming and new updates coming by midnight tonight. Now, this is just an unfiltered image. It's one of my favorite. But again, the different models, different filters will give you different information. But notice how this moisture got over the warmer Florida Peninsula, how from this morning the storms just started to explode on you guys right through here. Check that out. Cuba also in the heat of the day. More moisture is pulling off the Yucatan and storms. That's this tail down here. No matter where it comes in, you watch it because it's going to get longer and stronger. And that will be a trail of tornadoes. It happens every year, so be careful of that too. Now, first we'll look at the National Hurricane Center, then we're going to look at Fox, and we'll look at the Canadian model and the Navy model. Here it doesn't tell you the strength, but the Fox does, and on the printout from the advisories, it definitely showed a Cat 2 with Cat 3 gust, and remaining that way in between this marker where it's tropical storm 1 a.m. and this marker, probably 50 or 60 miles inland, it was still a Cat 2, guys. This orange area here is how far the tropical storm winds are going out now. That will increase somewhat with a hurricane. Sometimes it'll tighten up. But that right there is as wide as Mississippi or Alabama or Louisiana. Just that size of tropical storm force winds. Now, this was updated at, let's see, 4 p.m. Central Time, so it's 2.5 hours old. Still showing the morning's information. I'm thinking this will be updated maybe 8 o'clock, so if it needs to be. But from Cameron to Port Fourchon, 5 to 10 foot storm surges. From Port Fourchon to the mouth of the Mississippi River, 4 to 7. From there, all the way around and all of Mississippi, and that includes Lake Pontchartrain and the surrounding lakes. You got a 2 to 4 storm foot surge. This is Gulfport, Biloxi, Keesler Air Force Base. That goes all the way to the Mobile line. Now, of course, it's not going to end there, and so everyone in the Mobile area, you're going to be getting the right front quadrant of the outer edges of the storm. That's going to push water up into Mobile Bay. From Cameron back to High Island, 3 to 5 feet. From Galveston Bay all the way to the mouth of the Rio Grande River, 1 to 3 foot. And guys, this isn't talking about rip currents. Texas, you may not get a direct blow from this thing unless it does come up closer to Galveston, but you're probably already getting rip currents and things like that. And it's stormy and overcast down at the Galveston Bay webcams already. So this could very well increase. Now, what I want you to do, depending on where you're at, and it's different in all these areas, is look at the high tide for Wednesday and add that to these numbers. This also does not count waves on top of the water moving in, that surge as it rises. You're still going to have, again, the waves on top of it. You're going to have to pay attention to it, and especially the tide chart, because that can make a difference in a foot or more, and that foot or more could put it into neighborhoods that it doesn't usually get into. Now, this is a 4 p.m. update also, so a couple of nearly 3 hours old. But in the darker pink, these are storm surge warnings. It's kind of like we were looking at in the feet. But this is how far it goes in. See that? And then from there, mouth of the Mississippi River around all the way through this area, it's showing a storm surge watch. So, again, you're talking about the 1 to 3 to 5 to 7 foot area there. Not much this way because everything's pushing, not to the left side, but to the right in that counterclockwise movement. Now, this is the 5 p.m. advisory from Fox at Sky Tower Network down in Tampa. Here's the location right there that's saying Tuesday at 2 p.m. We got a Cat 1 sitting here, and you can see the warnings up here for your tropical storm watches and warnings, wind, things like that. But coming ashore is a Cat 2 with 100-mile-per-hour winds, and with Cat 3 gust. And if you look at it closer on the number charts, it remains as Cat 2 almost to Baton Rouge, guys. So it's showing a low pressure here, but it's got a lot of strength behind it. And when a hurricane can die off at the center, but what will happen, especially in the ocean also, is everything's already been pushed out, waves and wind and everything like that from the stronger storm, and that's moving out. So as the center starts to die out, you can still have some of that inertia, that impact that was pushed out before that. But again, Wednesday at 2 p.m., coming ashore. That's what I was saying, right in this area. Midnight, guys. It's going to be getting dark. At 2 p.m. it's not dark, but it's going to be overcast. But again, midnight is showing it right here around the Vicksburg, Mississippi area. Again, the thing is as wide. The tropical storm winds are as wide as this part of Louisiana or this part of Mississippi. Now it's at 65 miles per hour. It's not moving fast. Northwest at 7 miles per hour. What does that do? Gives it more time to strengthen. Now, this is a brand new update, guys, 13 minutes ago. And look at this. The Navy model is back between Jackson, headed towards Meridian here. We also have, let's see who we've got involved. I think that is the tabs moving. That's the one that's all the way over to Atlanta. I don't think that's going to happen. We may be wrong. Everything could shift that way before then. But the Navy model is right through here, kind of coming along the river. But we have, let's see, we got the T-Con model right there moving to the east. Navy model is just to the right of Jackson, or to the east of it. And this model right here has it very close to the Alabama line. Memphis, everything gets kind of crazy on the long-term models up through here and through Missouri. You just have to watch it. It looks like you're going to be a tropical depression or something with a lot of wind, possibly tornadoes, though. Now, we'll take a look at the Navy model first. Check it out. Strengthening there, and we'll stop that as it's coming ashore. And you'll see that the right movement on this model has actually been there most of the day. Go through there, and the second storm's coming in here. But I want you to notice something. See that opening in the high pressure where the low pressure's filling in right here at the end of this? I think that's going to pull all of this that way back out into the Atlantic. Right here is what we're going to have to be concerned with, though. And I want to stop it at certain locations, give you an idea. We'll stop it there, starting to strengthen. That's tomorrow at about just about 2 o'clock. Looks like we're looking at the time here, the UTC time. And let's move forward. Continues to strengthen. That is on the 11th. That's about midnight on the 11th. right there. It continues to strengthen. Millibars are getting low. 995, 996 is way out here. And you have several lines of declining pressure to get to that center. Now that is going to bring it in. I meant to stop that. Let me back that up. Right here on the 11th, that's going to be about daybreak. We'll step it through. Now watch where it comes ashore, right there. And the Mississippi River is right there, okay? New Orleans, you're here. There's Lake Pontchartrain. Step it forward. Right here, you're in between New Orleans and Baton Rouge, just south of the Mississippi line. But where we're at, we're already in the storm. And this is at the 12th. This would be probably 8 p.m. or something like that. Now, this is going to change somewhat, but let's step it forward. Right there. This morning, this thing was setting almost in Vicksburg. And I watched it drift over throughout the day. Now, that's going to put it just around Jackson, Mississippi, maybe to the right. But the northeast quadrant is right here. That's where the power of the storm is. So let's just step it back a moment. Look who all's involved as far as this section of it. So we're going from central Louisiana, all of this part of Louisiana, and much of the southwestern section of Mississippi is involved at this point. Go forward another notch. Again, that would be midnight, right there, going into the 12th. Wednesday night at midnight. That's what I was talking about. That's the worst time. So, guys, start tomorrow. Fill up your cars and trucks. If you lose power, you may not can get gas, right? Anything you're going to need fuel for, generators, get it tomorrow or this evening. You still got some time. Extra food, extra batteries, charge up everything you got. Cell phones, laptops, flashlights. Some of you guys that have really been paying attention, you've got the battery Ryobi fans from Home Depot. And if you've got enough batteries, you can run that thing throughout the day and night. You take about 4 batteries or so, and you can get the chargers now that's a 6-pack. You put 6 batteries in it, and it charges them one at a time, but it's very quick. And it has 2 USB ports on the side to where you can charge your phones and stuff. Pretty neat little deal to have. I'm so glad that I do have a couple of different Ryobi flashlights for their fans and their radio. Let's see what else. I've got their drills and saws, of course, because we built this house. But anyway, those things really can come in handy. Now, if I was in South Louisiana, I would be calling friends and family further north. Now, when we had Katrina here, I lived just south of this circle. We were 120 miles inland. Jackson's about 150. We were getting 120 mile per hour gust from the storm, that far north. So it didn't weaken that much, and it took out all the power for a couple of weeks. People would have to drive to Jackson or further or over into Louisiana to find fuel. I've seen farmers with 55-gallon drums on trailers so they can run their tractors and their backhoes and things like that. And it was a desperate situation. People couldn't get gas, so you would see a car with 5 or 6 or 7 people crammed in it, maybe 3 different families, to go north to find a grocery store that had electricity so the cash registers would work. Again, 2 weeks of that. You learn a lot in that period of time. It's not like they fix the power the next day and things. You learn to live with it. And what I learned from it was that was the beginning of my solar panels. And we've added a couple each year as we could since then. But guys, we're watching this. You watch it. I'm going to keep a very close eye on it until this thing's safely out of here. It's a heads up. Be safe.